special connection in that sense. And that is what we want to continue for us here at the police department. One of the things that we're going to talk about is this cultural immersion sabbatical program. And I'm not going to steal their thunder, but Commander David Bloom and Sergeant Gales were kind of the minds behind this program. And for us, we always look at opportunities to continue connecting with the community. Of course, things like this is amazing. We felt like there's more that we can do. So why not send our officers? Why not send our officers to the world where our residents are coming from, whether they're first, second, or third generation? This is an opportunity for us to be able to connect. So Officer Rob, which is sitting with their third one in, he had the opportunity to go to India and get the experience. And this is someone that of course, has had big interactions with members of the community here, but to be there, to live there, to be part of the community and stay with a host family truly gives you a sense of appreciation of how beautiful this world is and how, even though we're so different in so many different ways, we're all the same. We're all exactly the same. So, again, I just wanted to come by, quickly say hello. Personally, thank you for opening up your house to us. Really appreciate that. And I'm sure these folks will do an amazing job talking about the program. And please don't hesitate to ask whatever questions that you may have of them. Thank you again for having us. I appreciate it.
This is the highest honor we we have permanent flower bouquets, permanent nature flowers. They will not wither away. They will be natural. The plan was that he would be here up to 8 o'clock. He has sudden other engagement. So, but he's rushing and he's making us also rush. So next time I think we'll take more time. There's a lot of things our community, I think I mentioned to him, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of Hindu phobia all around, Hindu phobia, Hindu hatred. Then a lot of people were in northern part of the California. Eight temples have been vandalized or vandalized. 8 temples. 9 students have been murdered in the last 21 days all over the world. A lot of restoration of things. So we really want Irvine to reassure us that they are in the safe place.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you sharing that. If you didn't hear that, talking about the safety of our community, and especially your community and other communities that may feel targeted from time to time. The pure intention of the Irvine Police Department is to be out there and ensure that everybody in the community, regardless of what part of the world you're from, feels part of the community and feels, more importantly, safe. So we have a variety of different programs that we have in place. But what's really more important than that is continuing that dialogue, that partnership, and those conversations about what can you do better on your end and what can we do even better to maintain that connection. So I know our folks are out there, we'll be talking about that as well. And I do want to throw this out there. We do have a couple of programs that are designated, besides the Explorer program for the children. We do have programs that are available for our adults. Like people are like, I want to know a little bit more about the Irvine Police Department. We have the Community Police Academy that's available online if you go on our website. It's an 8-week program, once a week for 8-9 weeks in a row, typically on Wednesday nights. And it's a good window into everything that we do in the police departments. You'll have folks from around the department that'll come in, everything from patrol to traffic investigations, SWAT team, motor officers, be able to come and talk about their job and what they do in their capacity as a police officer. So I would definitely invite you to come do that. You get a tour of the department, you see all kinds of things. The other program we have is the Community Emergency Response Team program, which is also known as CERT. It's a little bit different of a different angle, but at the same time it is put on by our folks, and it prepares you for any emergency that does happen within our community. That there's only so much that we can do as police officers, or even our partners over at the Orange County Fire Authority. If a big emergency does happen, like let's say the fires that happened about 2-3 years ago, the Silverado fires, you run out of police officers, you run out of firefighters really quick. But folks that are part of this program are an extension of us. What can you do to maintain a safe household within your own house and within your own neighborhood? You could be a leader within your own neighborhood and bring your neighbors together, be a connection of us. So the CERT program, the Community Police Academy program, that's all available online. please look at that, please sign up. Again, it's another way for us to be able to connect and continue building that partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody wants to, we all can come together, take photograph. You can be seated here, and we can all have together, as you like. Can you all take one picture? Can you all come closer? Huh?
Learning.
It's a great opportunity taking photographs.
Busy, yeah?
Right?
అవునా ఓకే ఓకే చిప్ మార్కెట్ ఇండియాలో 3 ఓపెన్ చేస్తున్నారు అప్రూవ్ అయిపోయినాయి ఫ్యాబ్ సెమికండక్టర్ ఫ్యాబ్ ఫైనల్గా అయితే ఫ్యూచర్ ఓకే
We made it in your time.
ఇంకా కొంచెం యాక్చువల్గా ఇప్పుడు 7:30 నుంచి మొదలు యాక్చువల్గా వాళ్ళ ప్లాన్ 8కి అనమాట వాళ్ళు ఏదో అర్జెంట్ మళ్ళీ వెళ్ళిపోవాలని మళ్ళీ ప్లాన్ షిఫ్ట్ చేశారు లేట్ అవుతుంది జనాలంతా
వీటికి ఆడతాయి కదా
అదే 7:30 నుంచి మొదలవుతుంది ఆరతి
So you're going to run that video, right?
ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి వీళ్ళు ప్రెజెంటేషన్
అయిపోయింది వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు పెట్టున్నారా ఆయన ఒకటి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు చీఫ్ ఒకటి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు
All right. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. The chief's a tough act to follow, but I'm going to do my best. My name is Dave Klieg. I'm a commander with the Irvine Police Department. And I want to really thank you guys for having us here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about our cultural emergency sabbatical program, but before I do, I want to talk a little bit about some of the safety concerns. The chief touched on it, talked about our commitment to being connected to the community. But I also want you to know that my primary role is I oversee our investigations division. And we have some members of our threat management unit here. We spend a lot of time and energy and a lot of resources towards keeping Irvine safe. And we have systems in place at the local level. We have Irvine officers that are part of the FBI. We have Irvine officers that are detectives with our Fusion Center, which is an Orange County regional group. And so we stay connected to any issue that we think may come to Irvine. So if there's threats that we're hearing about in Washington, D.C., we're connected because we have an FBI agent that's an Irvine police officer who is cross-trained as an FBI agent. Same thing in the county. Anything in the county, we have an Irvine officer who's connected to that. And we have our own in-house threat management unit and intelligence unit that looks for threats. Their primary job is to look for anything that could come to Irvine to cause harm. And that includes religious faith threats. So just, I want you to sleep well knowing that we have a team that's 24/7 and we're looking for these types of things. And I am very confident that
those efforts have stopped something from happening that could have happened. Also, you should be confident that we're not seeing anything locally or regionally specific targeting a place like this. So I know in the age of social media, anything that happens bad across the world we see here and we feel it here, but we're not seeing those threats here. So now, on a higher note, I want to talk about the cultural versus sabbatical program. So in 2023, we started this program, which is the first of its kind for law enforcement. And the basic premise is this: we send a police officer for 2 weeks to a country that's represented in Irvine, like India, and they do a volunteer program abroad. And these volunteer programs are service-based, and in the instances we did this last year, they were primarily with children. They live modestly, they're not staying in 4 or 5-star hotels. When we can, they stay with a host family. Jeff actually stayed kind of in a hostel, kind of a dorm situation with other volunteers, and they truly immerse in the community. And that is the goal. And I'm sure many people in here have had the experience to travel around the world, and travel opens your mind. There's a famous quote by Mark Twain: "Travel is fatal to bigotry, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness." And I think that is true. I've had the ability to travel a lot in my life, and it's opened my eyes. And I also have seen that many police officers, when they come up, they go to college, they haven't had that international experience. And so our hope with this program was to give that opportunity to our officers. And my hope is that in 10 or 15 years, the vast majority of our officers have had some sort of international experience to build their cultural competence. So in this instance, we had Jeff, who is now in pole position, had the opportunity to go to Jaipur, India for 2 weeks. In November, it was a very good time to go. There was a lot going on that he got to experience. I also want to introduce Sergeant Gales, who, 2 things. Just the name gets an applause. He's that good. And he oversees, he supports me in the Cultural versus Sabbatical program. He's also the lead for our Interfaith Security Partnership, which you guys are part of. And we have Sean Cronin, who is part of our threat management unit. He works on school threats, so he is one of the officers that his full-time job is to assess school threats throughout the county to make sure there's nothing coming to our schools that could harm us. And if people are in crisis at schools, he works with the right people to get those people support. And then I'm going to say the name, then you can applaud, and then I'll talk. And then we have Officer Rick Raymer. And he is a threat mitigation officer, and he also spends most of his time working in our schools, but also our houses of worship and our business communities, looking for ways to help train folks to be best prepared if something does happen, if there's some dangerous event, but also to prevent it from happening. And that's a big focus on what we do, is we try to prevent things before they happen. And with that, we've got a video we put together for our city council, and it talks about the first year of our program, this program. And we went to 3 locations. We went to Jaipur, we went to Ghana, and we went to Ecuador. So you'll get, it's 5 minutes, I think 5 minutes, and you'll get a good snapshot of what the program's all about. So thank you.
There are many reasons why people want to work for the Irvine Police Department and the city of Irvine as a whole, and that's our diverse community, and that's something that we're very proud of. The fact that we have over 100 countries that are represented in our community, over 70 languages that are spoken, and over 20 faiths that are practiced says something really unique about this community. But as a result of having a very diverse community, it's really important that our officers have a good understanding of the community that we're interacting with. Of course, we have a variety of trainings that we provide, one would be cultural awareness and diversity programs, a typical classroom setting that our folks go to try to get as much experience as possible so it better prepares them as they're out there in the community. But I didn't feel that was enough. We didn't feel that that was enough as a department. And for us to be such an innovative department, such a forward-thinking department, the fact that we're a world-class leader in policing, we wanted to do more. Instead of having our folks sit in a classroom setting to get that training and that experience, why not take our folks and send them to the countries where our residents come from to provide them that exposure? And that is how the Cultural Immersion Sabbatical Program came to be.
The Cultural Immersion Sabbatical Program is really a journey in connecting officers more culturally with our community. And so the idea is, let's send them to countries that are represented in Irvine and have them do a volunteer program, live with a host family, and truly connect with the program. 2 of the unique aspects of this program that I think are so important. One is the homestay, where someone is actually living with a host family they eat meals with them, they get to know the family, and that is truly how you're going to connect with another community. The second is that it's a volunteer experience as well. And these volunteer programs are challenging, and they support some of the most fragile and marginalized and unsupported people in our society. These are children who are suffering homelessness, children with HIV, people that have lived on the streets or dealt with significant abuse. And our officers get the chance to, one, show what they're all about and connect with these kids and make a difference. And the goal is for officers who come back from this program to have a new perspective on dealing with people from different cultures. And I can tell you, the 3 that have already returned, each have said this has been a life-changing experience.
I'm not a big traveler. I've never been a big traveler, so this was a big leap for me to go out to Africa of all places and live out there for 2 weeks. And what that has done now is just kind of open the door a little bit to just relate to some of the folks in our community who are world travelers, who come from different parts of the world. Not so much that I can now better understand their perspective, but yet have that shared experience of being somewhere else and having those different experiences and then coming together and talking about those experiences, which ultimately just help us connect and build rapport.
And being put in Ecuador where no one spoke English, it was very eye-opening to me going, wow, if I can't get help from this person, I don't know where I'm gonna go, I don't know what to do. And when someone smiled at you, it just changed your entire demeanor with them, or the conversation, whether you're able to communicate or not with the language, it made me feel more comfortable. So it put in my head going, hey, when you do have those contacts where they don't know what's going on, they don't know where you are, a smile changes everything. It makes them feel more comfortable. And knowing what that felt like in a different place, it almost made my job easier, I guess you could say.
The culture is so much different. The food is so much different. The people are different, but at the same time, not different in a bad way, just different from what we're used to. And just being thrown in, immersed in that culture, being forced to be a part of everything that they're doing and no way to get out of it, if that makes sense. It was just an eye-opening experience.
We are very lucky to work in a city where we're supported to develop these sort of programs, to be able to develop cultural competence in a different way. And really it's off of a strong foundation of decades of work that the city of Irvine and the Irvine Police Department has done in connecting with our cultural community.
And that's what I think I really appreciate, is that there's this commitment to build people and build kind of my own sense of who I am as an individual, and that inevitably I can bring back to my profession as a police officer. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to kind of build and grow personally in knowing that that's going to help me professionally as well. So it's a very unique opportunity and an experience that I'm very thankful for.
The fact that we've had so much support from our community, city management, and our elected officials is truly what helps us live up to our motto, and that is being in partnership with the community. My hope is, as the years go by, that other police departments use this Irvine model as a new standard for their own communities and be able to better connect with those that they serve.
All right, I'd like to invite Jeff up here, who was the lucky participant that went to Jaipur, India, and he can share a little bit of his journey, and we'd love you to get a chance to ask him any questions about his experience as well.
Good evening. So I would actually consider myself well-traveled. I feel like I've been to everywhere in North America, Central America, Mexico, Europe, Asia. I've been to a lot of places, but I've never obviously been to India prior to this trip. And to be honest, I never had a desire to go to India. So I have a wife, I have 2 kids at home. Going on a trip by myself was kind of overwhelming to begin with. I had 3 different flights. I think it was like 36 hours with layovers to get there. I went to London, to Mumbai, to Delhi, it was a long time with no sleep. And like I said, I was out of my comfort zone. I was by myself with missing little kids at home. I think the time difference was about 12 and a half hours. So other side of the world. And I joked with Commander Klug, and I told the story a couple times, but well, let me get into that. So I get there, I'm in a third world country, no sleep, and I get picked up and go into the location where I'm staying at, and the streets are just obviously way different than they are here. There's no street signs, people are driving all different ways, you feel like you're in a video game. I found myself closing my eyes because I thought we were going to hit something. and I was kind of overwhelmed. I got to the place that I was staying, and the host family, if you will, said, okay, get some rest, and we'll be back in a little bit to go over orientation, and there's a market if you need a medication, go right there, and I'm just like, my mind is just spinning. So I joked with Mandir and my wife, and I was like, if someone from the police department would call me right now and say, hey, Jeff, no questions asked, we will not judge you one bit. We have a flight to go home right now. I might have taken it, but I would have missed out on one of the best opportunities of my life. I had an amazing, amazing time. I met people that I never thought I would ever meet and associate with. I made lifelong friends. I was immersed in a culture. Like I said, I never had any desire to really go because I didn't really know much about the Indian culture. I was able to work with kids at 3 different schools or orphanages. I worked with kids that they described as slum kids, and then kids with HIV, and then kids who they refer to as rescued street children. But I actually was able to teach sports, and I brought a bunch of baseball equipment, and I was able to just teach these kids and just teach them everything I knew about baseball. And man, did they love it! Man, did I love it! I was able to travel in the meantime, so every day I had about 4 different classes that I would go teach. But if I didn't have a class, I was visiting a temple. I was visiting anywhere in Jaipur that's a main attraction. I was there. I went to elephant sanctuary. I went to a leopard safari. I went to Agra to visit the Taj Mahal. I did a lot, and I was just very grateful for the opportunity. And like I said, I had a great time, and one of the coolest experiences of my life. I told them if given the opportunity again, I would go. Hopefully to a different city. I appreciate you guys having us here. Hopefully I can maybe answer some questions now or whenever it's appropriate, and you guys can get my experience and hopefully enjoy these pictures and videos.
How did you choose Jaipur to go?
I was told.
I chose. I did not see any accident there, right?
Oh, yes.
Right?
I did not see one single traffic accident. When I say it's like a video game, it is like a video game. There are no street signs, and I don't know how there's no accidents. There's cows in the street, and then it's wild, but I came home in one piece. Yes.
What's the one story that you remember from your
The kids. So, like I said, I got to work with 3 different groups of children, and they were just so happy that I was there, and I think it meant just as much that I was there to them, that to me, like I got just as much out of it. But they were just so excited to learn about baseball. They obviously didn't really know anything about baseball. Their major sport is cricket. So just to be able to teach them what I do know about the sport, it was very fun. But yeah, the children, obviously seeing all the sights and being able to travel different places. But yeah, the children were the best part. Yes, sir.
And how did you, how did you tell the cultural difference compared to here? Here you have seen Hindu places and Hindus here, right? But when you get there, it's going to be a little bit different than what you see here. Here it is, the society is much assimilated into the Hindu society. Here it is assimilated into the American society. It's a bit soft, but there it's a bit different. How do you feel the difference of culture and what you got?
Well, the culture is just way different from anything I've ever been part of. Like I said, and excuse me if I'm being insensitive or rude in any way. That's not my intention. But there's so many people, right? Everybody's on top of each other. Like you're waiting in line, and the person behind me is breathing like on my neck, right? It's very, very crowded, and and that part's obviously different here. The driving is different. The food is very different from anything I've experienced. I don't think I ever had Indian food prior to going.
Oh, really?
So it was just everything was just a culture shock to me because it was all new to me. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm really answering your question. But like I said, I put myself out there. I try to be all in because who knows if I'll ever be able to go back. So I did as much as I possibly could to experience experience that culture. I don't think I said no to food. Something I learned is not spicy is still very spicy. But
I just want to say that. I just want to say thank you for doing that. It's very creditable that you made such an effort to do that. It was really not necessary, but the fact that your team does that, it's quite creditable. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Given an opportunity, do you think will you take your family to visit India?
I think when my kids get older, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I have a 3 and a 1.5-year-old. I think they're just too
When the
young.
time comes, yeah.
When the time comes, I would definitely take my wife and I would go there. But I'd love to travel different parts of the country. It's so big, and I just got a little piece of it. But definitely, I want to go back. If they don't want to go, I'm going.
At any point of time, did you feel like unsafe, or the people are not friendly, or anything like that?
So that was I wouldn't say concern of mine, but that's kind of like a stereotype, right? I think a lot of people, you think of India, like, are you going to be safe? Like, that's just what it is, right? When people are unfriendly, sometimes that's a stereotype.
Yeah.
And my time there, I got rid of those stereotypes. Like, I don't think like that at all. I felt so safe. I was traveling on the, I'm blanking on what's it called, the metro or the
metro.
What's it called?
Metro.
The metro by myself at night, up until 10 o'clock, which was my curfew. Didn't have a care in the world about anybody, doing anything to me, or I saw women traveling by themselves. There were females that were part of not our program, but that were staying there, that they were part of different volunteer programs. They were traveling by themselves all over the country, and they didn't care at one instance. So I felt very, very safe when it came to that. Sorry, sir.
Southern part of India.
The southern part?
Yeah, like Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Each state,
I'm open to whatever.
each state will be different, like Europe, right? Each country, right? Each state will look like a different country. You go even from north to south.
That's what I've heard. Desert part, right? There's one that's very deserty.
Yeah, no, desert, but also the people, right? Each state has different culture, right? They speak many languages inside India. I speak different languages than they do.
And piggyback on what I was saying earlier is, I felt very appreciated when I was there. I stood out. I didn't look like everybody else there, but everybody was excited for me to be there, welcoming, curious as to why I was there, who I was there for. I must have taken hundreds of pictures with people, but they made me feel very welcome, which was nice. Sure.
Two questions. After visiting India, what is the one perception changed you? After visiting, before that you have never been there, now you visited it. Now what is that one thing, if I ask you, what is it changed? And that is first question. Second question is, there is a big police force, right? And you are the one person visited India. How do you transform your knowledge into your colleagues or other police forces?
So, I think I touched on maybe your first question already, but the friendliness of the people was something that I was not expecting, and they were very welcoming. And sorry, I'm drawing blank. What was the rest of your question?
How do you transform your knowledge into your colleagues or other police forces?
How would you
How do you
Share your experience.
Share your experience to other people?
To different officers?
Yes.
Well, something I didn't touch on, which was really cool, is I actually got to go to one of the police stations in Jaipur, and I actually met with what would be the equivalent of our chief of police there. So he took me around the station. He took me, everywhere, literally where I wanted to go. He walked me around and showed me how they run their police operations there. And it is 180 degrees different than what we do here. I go in there, we would call it like our records room. And here it's very organized with folders and computers. And I'm not joking you, this records room had trash bags of paperwork, and it just filled all across the room. So I don't know how they stay organized.
They don't.
But they don't.
But everything is in their mind.
And he walked me into which would be our armory with all the weapons, and he just opened up this case of guns and hands me a gun, and they're just like, it's just, everything is way different. And it's tough to relate to the United States in terms of how we do things here and how they do things there. I think the population plays a big part of what population and the officers that they have there plays a big part in what they can actually handle as a police force. There's just so many people, so they can't handle every single call or complaint like we have the ability to do here in the United States, or at least in Irvine. I learned that they actually have a police just for tourism, since tourism is so big. So if you're a tourist and you're experiencing a crime or something that you need police assistance, you go to the tourist police. And then if you're a local, you go to Jaipur police or however it may be. But as far as relating it to the United States or bringing back my experience to different officers, the only thing I can share with my fellow coworkers is the kind of stereotypes that were able to be broken by, or what I experienced, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, they are friendly people. They do love each other. They are loving. The food is good. Everything I experienced, I've just been able to share with them, and that's what I can bring back.
Thank you.
You asked a very, very important question, which it's like, how do we take these individual experiences and make it matter the entire organization?
Exactly.
How do we create what I call cultural competence for the entire department? And what I'm looking for, kind of as the planner of this, is that it's going to take time, but at some point there will be a tipping point when guys like Jeff, as they mature in the organization and promote through the ranks, when I have every leader in Irvine PD that's had an experience like this is going to change everything. When the officer's training, he's a training officer, so the 2 stripes he has means he trains new officers, right? So when they're in his car and they're learning how to be a police officer, his perspective is there. That experience, and he had a lot of perspective coming into it. He's done really incredible volunteer work in Central America and other things. He already brought that, but this just adds to that. And those that haven't had that experience, when they're working with others, when they're working as leaders, they bring that experience to the department in every aspect of it. And so in 20 years, my hope is that everyone in a leadership position has had this experience, and it becomes the expectation, that absolute mandate, that we have cultural competence, and that we look at every issue, every problem, and every opportunity from a cultural lens. And you talked about shifting perspective, like crowded streets, and I had my own experiences in Central America where you see 4 people on 1 scooter, right? Yeah. And if we saw that, like, everyone's going to jail, right? But they're not bad people, right? They did something different, and it's culturally different. And we have to be able to look at things like that as police officers, because ultimately, people need help, they come to us. And so we have to be open and listening first, and understanding that there could be a cultural disconnect, and we need to fight through that. We need to get out Google Translate and take the time to understand what's going on before just assuming, hey, this is not a police problem. So anyway, long answer to a very short question. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to touch on that because it is such an important question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sir, can I add one more thing to your question? I think it's given me the ability to have a understanding of the Indian culture and Indian people, and it gives me something to gives us something to have something in common with, if that makes sense. Little example today. I was on a call with 2 people from India. Okay. I'm not going to get into the details of the call. They were going through a tough time, and halfway through the call, I brought up the fact that I just went to Jaipur, and their faces changed. Okay, so it's relating with people. I don't know what you're going through. I'm not experiencing what you're doing, but I do know about your country. I just went there, and it kind of changed everything. And I think that's very beneficial to this program. I think every officer that goes to India, goes to Central America, goes to a different country, they're able to relate with the community. They're able to, just know what they've experienced or what they've gone through in the past, or just relate on a small level. So that's just something to add to your question. I hope that.
Yeah, definitely.
More, but and today was not the first time I've done that.
Okay.
I've done that, 4 or 5 times. I've done different calls with people from India, and it brings us closer together and kind of helps me bridge that gap. Like, hey, I'm not just a police officer in a uniform. Like, I'm a human being. I've been where you used to live. I've been where you grew up. I've been where your family lives. Now, how can we work together to solve this problem today?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Still asking questions.
Wait, hold on.
8.
Okay, so like I said, I was doing baseball, right? So one phrase that I was saying over and over again was, beach it, beach it, beach it, beach it, beach it. then I was also confused when I got there because, you know, if you asked somebody something, you should say yes or whatever, and every question or every answer was. So I didn't know if they were telling me no or they were telling me yes. Is this no or is this yes? I still don't know. Just don't get caught. You see someone on a motorcycle, or that's a police officer, you will get in trouble. Any other questions? More than happy to talk with you guys individually after if.
Questions?
No, no.
Next time, 4 officers are here. They are the leadership of Irvine Police.
How do you feel the weather in India?
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to go in a good time. So I went in November, but I heard that if you go in, what is it, March after or April after,
Then you're done.
pretty miserable.
You don't have to go for any tanning for life of the time.
Did you meet him?
The weather
Did you meet him
that
any
I
day?
experienced was just like,
I was not in Java.
so I was very lucky. So
He texted me appointment. I was like, no, man, I don't have time.
Turn over to Sergeant Gales.
Thank you, Jeff. I love to hear that about his trip. It's so impressive. And I don't know if many of you remember, but Officer Rao and I actually came here several months before his trip, and we were able to connect with the members of this temple. And so part of your own excitement for his trip motivated him. I know that he was so excited to go, and to be able to come back and connect with you about this has been very special. I lead the Interfaith Security Partnership. I do it with Detective Cronin and Officer Raymer over there. And I just want to say that we have one VIP member of the Interfaith Security Partnership, and he's VIP because he's the only member who comes to every single meeting that we have, and that is Suresh. So,
I only go so that I don't get tickets.
So that partnership that we have is very special. He cares about all of you and the safety of this Hindu temple. It's very special to see. He is part of the reason that we're here tonight, that we were invited. So you all have been amazing. I want to thank you for your hospitality and your warmth that you've shown us. We feel very welcome. We're honored to be here. I want to compliment all of your children and how well behaved they are. It's very impressive to see them all listen to us because we've been going for a long time. So we've been invited to join you for a meal. Thank you. We're looking forward to it. And I just want to say thank you to everyone here.
Thank you.
Police cops are not just blue, red lights, okay? Here are the police cops. They do everything for us. And today has been cultural immersion for them and a new experience for all of us, right?
Yes.
And I really want to invite them that they come often and more time so that real cultural immersion is there. Today we have to rush everything virtually speaking, right? Okay, thank you so much. Prashad, dinner? Anything?
அவங்களுக்கு அவங்க சாப்பிட்றாங்கல்ல they have invited us for the dinner. ஒரு பங்கு ஒன்று
Somebody asked the most intelligent question.
Maybe what we can do is like we can off once Aarti, I mean Prashad is offered, then we can take it.
That's what I was telling him. Either like save some food or one baba.
We'll do first ours. I mean
At least for the officers you feed them.
let them go actually.
Yeah.
Just
We have the plate. We'll ask Paddy to offer.
Baba first let them all go. We'll go to Akash. So அவங்க மட்டும்தான் not regular ஆர்த்தி இருக்கு நீங்க நைவேத்தியம் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா
You have the closed ones. I did not put actually. No, everything is okay. All right.
இல்லைங்க
கொடுக்கலாமே Why don't they can give Aarti first? Do you want to bring them?
They message the fire and they will arrest you, man.
Huh?
They message the fire and arrest you.
Why?
Just joking.
Mike. பாரு கண்ணை தரவே
எடுத்துரு வெங்கட் ஒரு
कर दी आपने गुरुजी